And for the assignment, somebody said, how do you just start coding something? Because I come in and my code's already done. My code is already done. And I just say, here's the example. And partly that's teaching trickery. Because then I could show you the working solution and you don't have to watch the 45 minutes I fumbled around trying to get it to work. I've done a little bit of live coding, right? But somebody's like, how would, for instance, I just create this page right here, this page right here, this exercise? How would I just create that from scratch? So to create that page from scratch, you're going to need, an HTML file, and then you're going to need some place to, I just have to rename this, otherwise the whole directory gets destroyed. And you're going to need some place to put some CSS to style it. So I would start out just like, I need some directory or something where I'm going to do my homework. So there's a good directory, and then I right-click it, I choose New, and I say HTML file. And if you only have one HTML file, or for the main HTML file in a project, tradition is to name it index. Some people use default, but index is more popular as the main name than default, from my understanding. So there I have index.html. I could put my CSS right here. I could create a style tag right up top, and I could put CSS there. Alternatively, in the way I'm teaching in this class, by the way, you could also just create it inline. If I had this, I could do style equals, and then I could start putting in declarations right here. Color equals red, font size equals 30 pics. Right, I could just start putting in declarations right there. And it's giving me a little underline because it's not equals, it's colon. I love code hint suggestions things. And this is styled. So I can put my styles right there. Right, that's inline CSS, or I have CSS between the style tags. I could have it right here where I could have H1, and this is styled. And then up here, I'm going to do my rule set, and it has the selector and the declaration block. The declaration block has declarations, and so then I could do my declarations.
If I'm doing what you're doing right there in IntelliJ, is there any way to change the name?
Change the name of what?
The name of the file.
I could right-click it, and refactor is a fancy name in programming for changing something. You want to refactor code? It's been changed. And people who don't know about programming, who are just on the business side, will use refactor like a buzzword as if they know something about it. They'll say, well, we're going to refactor our code. You'd be like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So refactor just has changed something. I know because I used to be one of those people. I used to not know what refactoring was. And then I realized I'm a blowhard. I actually have to learn how to code because I can't find anybody else to build my dreams for me. I have to build them. So then the way I'm teaching you in the class to do your CSS, and for me it's the best way, is to do a style sheet. And so here's my style sheet, and I'm just going to call it main. And so the way I got there is just, once again, I right-clicked, and then where I want this to be, and I chose New Style Sheet. And so I'm just going to call this one Main. And Main is a very good name for your style sheet. You could call them whatever the hell you want. But for your main style sheet, Main's good. Later in the course, recently I've been using like style.css and layout.css. And I've been doing my style in the style CSS and my layout in the layout CSS, just so that when we look at the layout, we're only seeing the CSS, which is impacting layout, and we're not obfuscating that with CSS that does styling. So I broke it up into two style sheets. So this one's just going to be main, and so now I need to link that to this page. So I do a link, and link has a rel. I'm not sure what rel stands for. What's rel stand for, Alan? Relation. That's relations. A style sheet. And then what is it? It's main.css. And I upgraded to the new WebStorm, and it no longer closes self-closing elements. It no longer has the old XML type notation where you do that, which is nice. I like that. I was wondering how to get rid of that. All I had to do is upgrade. So that's how I link to my style sheet. So now if I wanted to create that one page, which was the surfer page, which is this one, I'm going to need some sort of an image. I'm going to have headers and I'm going to have text. And so for the image, here I have solution. Solution to what? I guess that's just the solution to the homework. So that's more of a challenge. That's not the best name. I'm not sure, because that's what the person who's asking me about was confused about. Partly was like, create this page, submit the URL. I don't know why I called it that. Anyhow, that's what it is. So here's the emit notation. And emit, of course, is just that shorthand way to quickly create HTML. So I want an H1. It's going to have an ID of element, and then it's going to have a $sign as some sort of numbering, and then it's going to have content of header, and this will be more numbering, 001, and then it'll have at the same level a paragraph. So this will be element 1, element 2, element 3, and then there'll be 3 paragraphs under that, and they'll all have lorem text, and do that 4 times. And so when I do that, I have element 1, element 2, header 2. So that's a little bit, isn't totally clear how that works, right? But it came from that, right? So it gave me an H1 with an ID of element, and then it added a number to the ID of element, so number 1, number 2, and it increments those. And then we have content for that H1, and that content for the H1 is header followed by incrementing numbers, header 001, header 002, right there. And then there's 3 paragraphs plus P times 3. So we have 3 paragraphs, and each one has lorem text in it, times 4. Alternatively, you could just type it out, you know. So to type it out, it'd just be H1, and then give it an ID, and I could name it something, you know, and then I could put in, you know, the first stuff there, and then after that I could create 3 paragraphs, and each one could have lorem text in it. Whoops. All right, that's not quite what I was wanting. Gave me 3 spans. 3 paragraphs, each one with lorem text in it. So that was 3 paragraphs, each one with lorem text. And lorem ipsum text is fake Latin. Sounds like Latin. It's not Latin. Somebody just created that. It's like fake Latin as placeholder text. So I've got my text. I need an image of something. So we used an image of a surfer. So here's the solution again. And I could get that picture. Surf. And I'm doing it right here if I haven't opened the wrong file. And, huh?
When we do this one, do you want it to look identical to it? Like,
No, you could be creative.
okay.
Dude surfing. So then I just need to style this page. So to style it, what would be some of the things you would start throwing in to get it to look like
Margin.
that? So margin,
Well, first I want to do the container. Give it a auto margin.
and a width of some sort, and a background color and a border. Let's do the container. So the container here, we'll just do the body, because that's what's contained in everything. That'll be the easiest. So we'll say body, and we'll do width. It looks like it's about 50%. And margin 0 auto to center it, and border 2 pix solid black, and background color is like that hippie green, or Florida green. Sorry, hippie's the word that's in my mind. I owe this color green to Ryan Bonhart. He liked that color. And then we have HTML, and I think that, see if this works. Background color. I don't have absolute certainty on this, right, to get that blue. All right, so let's preview it, see what we're looking at.
So what's the difference? Okay, that's called background color is blue, but then that's the sheet inside of it. What's the name of that? I didn't understand. Like
Which sheet?
the blue sheet. Okay, that's the background blue.
Okay, I did background on HTML. So this is a rule set. A rule set has a selector and a declaration block. Declaration block has declaration. So this declaration block has one declaration. This declaration block has the selector body. And then the rule set has the selector body and the declaration block right there. The declaration block has 4 declarations. Each one's a property and a value. So this is selecting the HTML tag.
Yeah, she's asking how you got the green color. It gives you options when you type in background color.
Oh yeah, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that and then how to make it like set in the page. So the screen is my entire page, and the green is sitting right there.
The best way to think about it is that the HTML, that's the biggest thing, is that HTML can't be adjusted. So the HTML page is what holds the blue, the whole document,
Okay.
and then the body is what he's putting as the green.
And the reason it's in the middle, so he has width at 50%. And then he has it on margin 0 auto.
So it's basically a box in the middle.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And so you can see the nesting here. Like if we looked at just a basic HTML page without all that other stuff in there, right? HTML is basically our canvas. We're starting out with the canvas HTML. And then inside that canvas, we have different areas that we can work. Okay, so the head area is one big area where these are things which do not show up on the page. Right? So that's part of the canvas, because it's the title goes up in the tag in the browser. That goes up there. Or we put other things up there, like we link to style sheets, right? So that's impacting the canvas. But the things that actually show on the canvas are in the body tag. So we could style the HTML tag. We could use that as a selector and apply CSS to it, which is what we did right here. We said, hey, the HTML, make the background blue, background color blue. And then we could select the body tag and we could apply CSS to it. So here's the body tag. We said make it width 50%. Width 50%. Percent looks to the parent element. It's relative to the parent element. We're going to learn about that soon. Units of measurement. But percent looks to the parent element, and then it takes its size off of in relation to the parent element. So 50% of the parent element's width. 50% of the parent element's width. Well, the parent element's 100%. This is 50%. Parent element's HTML. So and then margin 0 auto on that. So I'd increase the border here, I think, a little bit, and then I'd add padding. Padding and maybe just 20 pixels all around, just to bring it in. And then I'd center the image. So to center the image, how would we center the image? Padding to center the image? How?
Well, I would do top and bottom. I'll probably do top and bottom. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. Well, you can either change the display, was it inline, doesn't respect margin. It's an inline, so you got, inline block, and then you can use margin, excuse me. And then that's all,
Good try. Let's try just that. See what happens. Let's try text align, even though it's not text, center. No. Let's put a border around it and see what it's doing. There's the border. So an image is inline element or block level element? It's a block. Block is a block. MDN inline elements. Inline. Crazy. All right. So how do we get that guy centered? We did this before we knew Flexbox. What other ideas? We tried inline block. And this is what it's looking like.
That was Flex that page 1 2.
Huh?
Flexbox that page 1 2. A definition.
No, that was just MDN, inline elements.
Oh,
So it showed me that image is an inline element, not a block level element. You could also do MDN block element. And you can see all the block elements.
I saw an idea here.
What's the idea?
Just display block, instead of inline block, and then margin 0 auto.
Okay, let's try that. Whoa, cool. So if it was inline block, no like. But when it became a block level element, it like. I've lost my ability to use proper English apparently. It no like, it like. That's all right. And then our border for this one is actually is like huge. I think it's like 8 pixels or 6 pixels, 8 pixels. And instead of solid, right here I could hold down in WebStorm Option spacebar or Control spacebar. Control spacebar, dash, dotted, double, groove. I think it's groove and maybe orange. And maybe make it 20 pixels. It's pretty cool. And then what else do I need to do to get that to look cool? Border radius. And what I add here? 50%? That works. We could also use pixels. It's pretty good. And then we could style each of those individual elements. And it just has header 1, color, blue. Right? Those all have IDs. Does that kind of help you see it? How many people that helps? Just sweet. All right.
I did mine the other way. I cut and paste and set it up, and it still works, but
Yeah.
it gives me a code, but
Yeah.
I'd rather know how to do it this way.
Yeah, and that's the way before I come to class, like all day long. I mean, fortunate for me, this is my work week. Like, I'm working hard for you guys. Like, you know, I'm putting in 800, 900 hours a week just getting ready for this class. No, literally 10 to 20 hours a week where I'm just sitting there trying combinations and fumbling and, hey, display didn't work. Let me try just display inline block, right? Display block didn't work. Let me try inline block. And, oh, that didn't work. Let me try this. Oh, hey, that's interesting. Look at how that works. Like, so for all the chunks of code I show you, I've spent sometimes hours working on those 4, 5, 6 little things I show you so that it's like, this is the way it makes the most sense. Like just today, a couple hours working on showing you how media queries work, getting ready to show you media queries, you know? And what's the simplest way to present this? And so you don't see me doing that bumble like, oh, that didn't work, what would work? But that's a large part of the process, is understanding the different tools, and then they interact with each other, and sometimes that changes them, and, you know, how do they, what do we bring together to get the right working solution? All right. Thank you for the question. Nice question. Anybody have any other questions?
I think on one of the homeworks, I sent you an email. It said something. I wrote it down. It was, you told us to look for something and it's missing. It's missing a style sheet on week 5, page of divs or something like that. It was when I went to look for the style sheet to do it, Get Monster showed on there and said.
Rawr. Missing.
Yeah, so the page looks.
I probably gave you a link in Blackboard. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then I changed my code base. So the link, the URL to it, maybe this one right here, Flexbox container.
No, it was in week.
That's still there. Is in week 5.
It was week 5 and.
Page of divs. Your style sheet located here. Rawr. So page of divs. You could look at that URL, and it's 35 display challenge. 035 display challenge is what it used to be called. And so then you could come into the code, or you could come back to GitHub. 35 display challenge. And it's in HTML, CSS. And I could just look for display challenge. And now it's 38 display challenge. So everything got pushed down because I reworked the code base. That is a problem, as I'm building this as we go through. So there's the main CSS. So then I could grab this right here, come back here, edit that, edit this, put in the new one, and it should work now. Cool, good for you. You're up to week 5 in the homework. You're doing good. I mean that both seriously and jokingly at the same time. Because I think some people are struggling a little bit. Which I want to add is we have 2 tutors for the class. And Alan has offered to tutor. So you could schedule with Alan. And Alan could share his email address maybe. And if you want to share his phone number too, we'll do that since I'm not recording. And then who is the other person who volunteered to be a tutor? Are you here? They're not here, apparently, but
You're not recording right now?
I am. I'll stop. Here we go. Stop.